Hey everyone, welcome to V's Staryard. Today we're going to be building the Va'ruun Inquisitor. This is a good time to pause the video. In the description I'll have a list of all the parts you're going to need and what ship manufacturers you'll need to visit to get them, if any, as well as an interior tour and a flight and fight video. So with that being said, what we'll do is we'll get started. So what we're going to do is we're going to need to grab a grav drive and a reactor. And what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to borrow this piece here, the bracer. You can also use a 1x1 ham to do this, anything that will allow you to duplicate it. And we're going to duplicate it. And then there you go, we're going to attach it there, and we're going to delete this bottom one. So now what we're going to do is you're going to grab this one, the lower one, and grab your grav drive in this case, and then we're going to duplicate it. It's going to force it down. We're going to delete that one, then we're going to grab the bottom one again. We're going to grab the grav drive, and we're going to duplicate it one more time. So you can see we have them both selected. And that's going to force them both in the same space. Now we're going to leave these two pieces here, and we're actually going to build up. And then we're going to build up again and delete that bottom one to give us some space. Because what we're going to do now is I'm going to delete this one, but we're going to merge this piece into where the engines are. And our two engines are actually going to be merged into that spot. So you can grab the bottommost piece there, and that's going to pull us down. And we're doing the same trick we did before. But we're going to do that until the engines sit like that with the two inside of the grav drive and the engine. And then we're going to actually take these pieces and move them to the side. And we're going to clean up. The reason we're doing this is we're actually going to merge in our storage as well as our fuel tanks into this spot. So it should look something like that. Again, you could be using 1x1 halves to do this. So here's the fun part. So now that it's been placed in Ship Builder already, we can grab it and we can force it inside and get it. We want to get it as close to the snap point as possible. Flip it back, flip it forth. Then we're going to grab the ship parts and just press A, and then it'll snap. So we're going to do the same thing. So we're going to have this go inside, even though it says it's red, and flip it, and then flip it back and let it go. Grab your parts, and then it'll auto snap to that part. So we're going to do the same thing with these engines. Or not the engines. We're going to do the same thing with the fuel tanks here. It just snaps right there. We're going to do the same thing on the other side with the other fuel tank. There you go. Now we can clean this up. Now you can see all those pieces are there nice and neat. Now what we can do is we can grab the Deimos Belly piece. Now this is going to want to sit there because the engines are there. And so even when you flip it forward, the engines are there. So you're going to flip it back, let it go. And then what that'll do is it'll glitch it into that space and it'll be connected. See, it's connected to that piece. Now we're going to grab our docker and attach that to the belly piece. Then we're going to attach our bay. Now that we have the bay attached, we can take our Stroud Cap A's. We can attach those there to the actual docker piece that has the connection points. Now, this landing gear is actually several landing gear glitched on top of one another. So I'm going to grab that one. And then here you can see we have 1, 2, 3 other landing gears that are just basically duplicated and glitched into place. And it's the same for the other side. I'll show you shortly. So you can see 1, 2, and 3. But right now we're not really going to need these, so we're just going to clean up. We're going to duplicate these at the end. So we're going to grab this Stroud piece. And it's going to give you some overhang on your landing bay right there. And we're going to do the same thing with this piece. And that's what it should look like so far. Now, before we can attach those other bottom pieces, we're going to have to build the second layer. So we're going to take our all-in-one, and we're going to put it right there. We're going to take this Stroud workshop. That's going to connect on the forward snap points of that. Then we're going to do the same thing with our control station. Now we can take this Nova Cowling piece and we can put it there. Same thing for the other side. And we'll take our infirmary. We're going to attach that there to the front of that hab. Now we're going to do the same thing over there. Now I'm going to take this piece and attach it to the front of the hab. And there you go. Now our engine mount can go here, which means that we can attach our engine. Now I'm just going to grab all these because you're basically going to just mirror it on the other side and do the same thing. Now it's going to get a little tricky, but we need to grab the Nova weapon mount. And that goes on the front of our all-in-one. And we're going to need to grab this companionway. So we're going to add the companionway there. And then what we're going to do is then we're going to duplicate these pieces upwards on either side. Because what's going to happen is if we don't have that set in place, we're going to have the pieces that we set inside of there potentially glitch out when we go to snap this piece on. So you just want them all to be connected for this time. You want to get that as close to the snap point as you can, and then flip it back and forth, and then grab the ship. Now we can get rid of these. Now we're going to take these Deimos Wing pieces and put them on the inner snap points by flipping them and then letting them go. And then we're going to do it again with this piece. Now we can take our side ports, our side caps from Taiyo. We can smooth out the edge of the ship by putting that on the snap point, flipping it. We're going to do the same thing, grabbing it, placing it on the snap point, flipping it back and forth, and then dropping it. And then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Flipping it and then letting it go. So basically you'll see it attaches itself to the snap point, flip it, let it go, and now it's all attached. Now we can take these pieces and we can attach them on the bottom. grab this and move it out of the way for now. We'll grab this other piece, the other Cap A, and that goes right underneath our engine, and it should snap right in place, no issues. And then we'll bring this one forward, and it should snap in place, no issue. Now this other one is actually going to overlap with the other Cap A. So there's a couple things we can do. In this case, we're going to use the flip trick. So we're going to flip it, flip it, flip it, flip it, and then let it go. And then now it's attached there. So I'm going to grab these three pieces because basically you're just going to mirror what you did on the other side. I'm going to attach those there. And now with this piece, we're going to have to flip it into place. Or you can cycle it. I didn't flip it enough times, but once it's been flipped and attached, it turns green when you grab it. Now we're going to attach our cockpit, because we're going to need to build around it. And we're going to grab this piece right here. We're going to set it aside. We'll grab these spine pieces since we don't have to really do much to glitch them in place, and we'll just place the Spine A pieces. Then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. And we're going to move these out of the way for now. So we can grab this HopeTech Cap A. This is going to go right under the front of our cockpit. You're going to flip it, and then let it go once it's positioned like that. Now we're going to take these Stroud Cap A's, and we're going to flip them, and then let them go. Same thing with this one. So this is where you can actually do the cycle. So I cycled that piece so that you could go back and forth with it, so you didn't have to flip it as many times. So now we're going to need these pieces. And they're just going to go right there to attach our pieces. And then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. But before we do that, we want to get this piece in right there. And we're going to attach our Stroud Cap A right there. Now I'm just going to duplicate that and then flip it, and then you can see it's attached, but sometimes you'll have to move the ship. So I'm just going to duplicate this one up, duplicate, flip. And then what you want to do is you want to grab your ship, usually after you do that, just to make sure that it's still in the same space. Now we don't need those pieces anymore. However, we're going to need this piece. That's going to go underneath our cockpit, just like that. And then we're going to do our Cap A piece again. And there we go. Now it's all attached. It's all one piece. Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe. And turn on your notifications for me so that when my next build video goes out, you'll be able to see it right away. So all we did was just attach those Nova pieces, and now we're going to glitch these into place by getting the snap point as close to possible, and then flipping it back and forth and letting it go. And then we're going to grab the ship, select the ship with A, and then it'll snap on. And so once you move these pieces, this one glitched, so you have to flip it back in place, and then flip it back in place. And there you go. Now we'll take this Deimos Wing piece right here. We're going to get as close to the snap point as possible. Flip it, let it go, flip it, let it go. And then the ship will attach to it automatically. Now we're going to take our Nova pieces, our Nova radiators. These are going to go on the inside. And then we're going to flip it and let it go. And we're going to grab the ship. And there you go. Now it's snapped in place. So this piece we're going to attach here. And then we'll attach these two Cap A's on the side. Now with this piece, you can't actually attach this piece first, even though I tried, because then it wants to snap to some weird position. But you see I cycled through it, and then I tried to snap it in place, but it wanted to snap to the bottom. And I did not want that to happen, so I just kind of left it in place. And I grabbed this piece. So you want to attach this piece to the Nova Cowling by getting it in place. Or not the Nova Cowling, the Nova Bracer. See, I moved the bracer. I don't want to move the bracer. I just want to move this Nova Cowling out of the way. And then we can attach this Nova Cowling to the bracer. And then now that that's attached, we can flip this piece right here. And we can put this piece in place. And then now that that piece is attached to the ship, you can move the whole ship. And then now what we're going to do is we're going to finish up by attaching our weapons and our other attachments. So where we're going to hide them is up here in the front with most of them. So we're going to remove this cap pieces. And then we can put our shield there. And then you can put an equipment plate. So I'm actually going to move this equipment plate, but there's a cool trick you can do to get all your weapons on one plate. How you do that is, I just deleted them all. What you're going to do is you're going to select the one, and you're just going to duplicate it, duplicate it, duplicate it, and now they're all connected to that plate, all in the same space. Now we can clean these up by either flipping or cycling. So what I just did there was a cycle. I cycled through the position of the part. Now with this one, because it's so bulky, we want to hide it in there with an equipment plate. So I'm actually going to move one off, and I'm going to delete the rest, or else it's not going to attach to the ship. Now that we have that, you can flip this so it's facing forward again and let it go. Now what we're going to do is we're going to duplicate this one 4 times. 1, 2, 3, and then 4. And then we're going to delete the first one to move the whole piece a little bit closer to the frame. And there you go. We're going to hide it. Now this one, we're going to hide up in the front by doing the same thing we did on the other side. We're also going to grab this spare equipment plate in case you ever want to attach something else that you want to hide in there, like a scanner jammer. So again, just deleting it, moving the pieces here, I'm going to drop that there. I'm going to attach the weapon. And then once it's attached, you can just duplicate it 1, 2, 3, 4. And then delete it. Then we're going to attach our pieces. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go underneath the ship. We're going to duplicate 1, 2, 3. Then we're going to grab the ship, attach, grab the ship, press A, grab the ship, press A, and then all those landing gear are now attached. So we're going to do the same thing, 1, 2, 3, and then grab the ship, and then it'll attach. And all those ones duplicated in the same area, so they're all attached. And now that you have all that done, you now have a Va'ruun Inquisitor in your fleet. Thank you guys for watching. I hope to see you at the next video. Bye.